Good day. Is this going to be a standalone novel, sir, or is it going to be another anthology? First, I want to talk about the misuse of the term bug hunt in this very title. Hudson's line from Aliens is as thus: "Is this going to be a stand-up fight, sir, or is it another bug hunt?" This novel and people in general take the term bug hunt as a type of combat wherein a military force engages a type of foul xeno. This is likely due to the Mandela effect or something along those lines. When one listens to the line, we hear a mocking tone in Hudson's voice when he says bug hunt. He puts a particular emphasis on stand-up fight as well. From his tone, I get the feeling that a bug hunt is a colonial marine colloquialism for a boring patrol that, in the words of Spaceballs, ain't found shit. Hudson is a cocky bastard and wants to get stuck right into the thick of it, and not wander around some dusty caverns finding nothing. So in my mind, bug hunt is not actually an insanely dangerous mission, but instead something much more boring. Whatever the case, this anthology is not insanely boring, but it is instead insanely entertaining for the most part. I will not be reviewing all the stories in the novel, but instead I will be discussing my personal favorites. First up on the list is the story by Larry Correia of Monster Hunter International fame. His story details the design and manufacture of the M41A pulse rifle. Now, I would have preferred a prose story from Larry, as his characters and action are second to none, but this story is good too. As should be known, I am a huge firearms enthusiast. I know the history of many of the major firearms, including the often misunderstood AR-15. Larry essentially rips off the entire rise of the AR-15, but mixes it with the rise of the Barrett 50 caliber rifle. Now, if you know nothing about either firearm, then this story will seem like the rise of the little guy against the foul depredations of the corporations. But in reality, most of what went into crafting the pulse rifle story happened in real life with the AR-15. The story starts talking about how the weapons in the Colonial Marines were very finicky and failed due to being overcomplicated. This is a reference to the M14 carbine and how it was unsuited to combat in the Vietnam conflict. The creator of the pulse rifle builds it in his garage. This references how the Barrett 50 caliber rifle came to be. And then the story talks about how the rifle is sabotaged during trials. This is more or less what happened to the AR-15. Intermingled into the history are testimonials by Colonial Marines and how they either love or hate the rifle. Overall, solid work from Larry, but I would have still rather had him actually have a squad of Marine characters instead of giving a rehash of two real-life stories. Next, we have Dan Abnett of Warhammer 40k fame. He turns in a superlative work that is my second favorite of all the short stories. It features a team of Marines investigating an agri-world after it has gone silent. Upon trying to land on the planet, they find that it is beset by massive climatic issues, aka big-ass gusts of wind. They eventually land on a massive grain processor, only to find all organic material stripped from it, along with the interior scoured clean. Truly, this is one of the most terrifying short stories, because the actual reveal kinda comes out of nowhere in some respects. My favorite story is by the writer Rachel Kane. She chronicles the rise of Bishop the android, and shows that he might be more than he appears, and has him face some rather high-level moral dilemmas. Most of the stories don't actually feature the xenomorph at all, and some feel distinctly more like cosmic horror stories. Taken in totality, it is well worth picking up, as none of the stories are a letdown, and even the most generic is still entertaining. With that, I am GeneralLotz, wishing you good, cruel stars, and good, dark future, Route 666, or whatever makes you happy. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and if you can, please consider supporting me on Patreon so that I can continue bringing you this awesome content. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we shall be taking a deep dive into my two most favorite stories in this anthology. The one by Dan Abnett is the most terrifying of all. The xenomorphs aren't even in it. Instead, the colonists kick over a hive of tyrannids, random space bugs, that kill all the humans by attacking them in one large quadrillion-strong horde. The Marines find out about this just before they get attacked and devoured. This story is fucking scary because it's an enemy that cannot be fought at all. Truly, Abnett still knows what he's doing. The Bishop story is not really scary, and it also doesn't feature the xenomorph. Rather, it is a great character study of Bishop. From the moment he is activated, he is different. Where other androids just go along with the flow, he questions. Also, Bishop is named after the bishop from chess, which I found to be a rather nice touch, rather than him just being named after the company's founder. I also like the idea that Bishop was supposed to be just a regular android that broke free from his programming rather than something special. Throughout the story, Bishop is shown to be a rather willful android, and his thoughts are always quite humorous. The story comes to a head when he's ordered to leave some civilians behind. In short, pirates capture a colony and hold all the civilians hostage in an atmosphere processor. The colonial marines are ordered to blow up the processor and leave the colony. Bishop goes rogue and saves the civilians and gets around that pesky Isaac Asimov. To take down the pirates, Bishop uses a gas that is fatal after a few seconds of inhalation. He puts masks on the civilians, but the pirates take them off to save themselves. And in an epic move, Bishop steals them back, thus killing the pirates. Bishop also has to fight a rogue brother android, and Bishop kills the shit out of him. Bishop saves some civvies, but takes some battle damage, and in the end, his Marine squad transfers him to another squad, the Sulaco Squad. And unlike his previous posting, they accept him as an equal, and the story ends on a rather uplifting note. I want some more Bishop stories written by this bloody writer, as she gets the character right and turned in the most memorable story by far.